I would like to use the opportunity now to formally welcome you on behalf of all of us to the 6th Spirit of Humanity Forum, which is now held under the profound theme, Healing a World in Crisis, Leading with Authenticity and Love.
I've been coming to the forum for many years, and each year it's been a conference in which people have shared from the platform, panel discussions, and then questions and answers and so on. But this time it was a retreat setting, and so we were all together on site, and it was a very lovely experience to be together 24 hours through the day, and then the next day and the next day. And so it was really a sense of community that got built up. And the main theme that we were picking up on was the whole subject of being rather than doing. And of course it makes sense when you think about it that first it's what's going on inside of you that will then determine what happens outside. But in life so often we just focus on the doing all the time. But instead of that, when we come to this awareness of the being, that's very beautiful. And so the whole event focused on process in which we were experiencing what is the being within. And it really felt as if it was like a family coming together. But of course, the things we were talking about were things that can actually impact the world out there. Because when I change and I come to that awareness of the being that I am, then what I do is not just for me and my limited family, but it impacts everything else that I'm involved with. And people came from many different backgrounds, from many different continents, and so they were sharing their experience, but also they're now carrying away that sense of being and being at peace with the self, being at peace with others around us, and then being at peace with nature also. So I think it's going to have a very far-reaching impact, because when the consciousness changes, then the world can change also. So I'm very hopeful of what the results of this are going to be.
I think what's been so powerful is how embodied the experience has been. And we've been invited to move past the language that we all share, like beyond English, that particular language of spirit or love or authenticity or crisis or healing, and really move into the wisdom that's held in our collective body, in the social body, which is a word I learned. And I think my thoughts are now on how I integrate this outside of a container like this, how we bring the essence of a space like this into the world, and particularly how I bring it to the young people I know who don't have the resources or the time to be in this kind of space, but really are doing this work without the language. And that felt really powerful to move beyond, to really dissolve that barrier and let something new grow. I think I'll share two things, and the first is the eye contact between people across a room, or little glances at someone where they go, let's talk at some point, and you go, okay, it'll happen if it happens, and that's okay. I'm not forcing it. And there's a real sense of presence in those moments of like, I'm really just feel like I'm stepping in to a place of just being rather than pushing. And the other moment was yesterday after the sessions and before dinner, sitting on the steps outside and looking over the mountains and the residential homes and listening to the children jumping on their trampoline, and just feeling this sense of being both in it and in the world, and the magic of that liminal space between a very held container and the fact that the world is still moving while we're here, and the beautiful balance of trying to be in both. I'm taking away a deepening in my commitment to liberation and a deepening in my service to the world, a sense of that one of the big things I have to offer is my presence, and not just my presence in a lovely, beautiful way, but in a really tough, hard, being there for the really difficult moments kind of way. And I'm taking away something that we practiced yesterday particularly, which was the art of listening, not to the words, but to the beingness behind the words, to the essence. And I think I'd been doing that without knowing what the language for that was. So that has a sense of clarity in my mind now.
First, I want to share thanks. I want to say it's my first experience here at the forum, and it's amazing. Amazing the team, amazing the people to which you can connect. I mean, it's 120 people that are really special in what they do, what they intend to do. And it has been a great experience in the sense of not only knowing what other people is doing, but also knowing about yourself and gaining more confidence on doing more things to impact in our communities. One of the main things that gives being with other people is, and what brings to yourself is confidence. Because you get the support of people that might have gone through situations that you want to overcome and experiences, and also with a lot of inner work. Because one of the means of this forum is leading with authenticity and love, and linking this with yourself and making sure how you can continue developing your wills, your desires to change your limitations, and what breaks those limitations to continue impacting or acting as a multiplier in many aspects where we need to change as a society. I bring confidence, I bring responsibility, I bring a sense of belonging and a network of support in many different areas and many different aspects. So it acts like a multiplier being here, to bring the capability to multiply what we're doing. What I will bring home with me is confidence, is an inner work that can work outside, and the effect of a multiplier and a sense of belonging. So much more will, confidence of making the changes that we need to make and how to connect with people.
So we'd like to start by saying we had a dream. We had a dream which started the first seeds 15 years ago in Oxford, England. And with Maureen and a few friends, we wondered if one day we would be living a reality where we see leaders who are governing countries, organizations, who actually embody love, compassion, and are inspiring for civilization.
Máttur til eilíf að í minni gröf ég þrei.
I expected a good opportunity to have exchanges with people from all over the world, and it was exactly about that, but it was also for me a meeting of hope, because in our world, which is, I would say, at least a bit in trouble, it's important to see that we have people who are not only thinking about solutions, but also how to get an inclusive strategy to get everybody to embrace the changes which we need. And for that, I think we have to touch the hearts of the people. We cannot only speak about intellectual arguments. And it was very much about trying to speak to other people while from heart to heart, because that's more promising probably than just doing in the communication between one intellect and another one. So leadership is tough because I think leadership often comes with your ego, and an ego is dangerous because ego is often not respectful with other persons, or you can make errors. And what I like about this approach is really that you try to be more conscious about, even if you have a fight which is a good fight, which is trying to help humanity, you have to do it on a way which does not hurt others. And I think that is, for me, one of the key lessons I learned with the forum. So first I take back that Iceland is, I think, a good role model, because the Prime Minister, the President, they are on that ticket of working on themselves to reflect their way of leadership. And Iceland has enshrined mental health, so well-being, happiness of the Icelandic society as their key political goal. And I think that is something which we have to do also in other countries. And I think working on what is a happy Luxembourg, or a happy what can Luxembourgish policy doing, so the country where I come from, to make people happy while not destroying the environment. I think that is probably the new main target or objective of politics, what has to be. So very inspiring.
It has been such a delight and honor to be back in this extraordinary country, especially after COVID and after all the events that have taken place over the last few years. To come back to a country which is supposed to be so cold and yet is so heartwarming, and which is such a perfect home for the Spirit of Humanity Forum, because it really embodies what the forum is about. And meeting in this beautiful place, in this retreat format, in the depth and authenticity of the meeting, was a remarkable experience. It felt like the forum itself has built on these many years and matured into what is needed for the world that we are now creating, for healing this world which is in crisis, so that we can, from those wounds, be able to co-create the new world that is already in emergence everywhere we look. Everything has been so rich, but a moment I want to highlight, I'll probably do it in two ways. One is that the beautiful organizing team have been working with all of their care, their expertise, their knowledge for years to bring us together. And yet they trusted that if we are talking about healing a world in crisis and about leading with authenticity and love, they trusted this open structure of giving a bit of structure and then leaving the space open. And what I would like to share as my highlight was what happened last night, which was literally the first night of the forum. So we had only been together for a day, yes, for one evening and one full day. And there was this beautiful open space created where 160 people could sit in a circle. And there, the hosts, the organizers who had spent so much time curating this forum, invited us to honor not the presence, but the absence of one of the invitees. Because the organizers, including the director, Johanna, and the secretary of the forum, Lothar, had all the way up till the day of the forum and the very day that we were meeting, had been engaged in taking care that every single one of the hand-picked invited guests could come. And this particular guest, because of our very long-term relationship, co-creation and collaboration with the Spirit of Humanity Forum, was one of our young emerging leaders from Zimbabwe. In fact, two of our leaders, our young leaders, were invited. One, a young woman, brilliant young woman, Linda Lioga from Cameroon, and the other, Muziwanele Thando Ngwenya from Zimbabwe. And with so much effort from the forum, Linda got her visa, thanks to Switzerland, I should highlight, but Muzi was denied his visa after so much effort. And so this beautiful event was held. And to start this gathering, the first dialogue we would have together, Muzi's presence was honored. He shared a video where he expressed his heartbreak of not being there, but he expressed how much he felt welcomed into a family, which was a Spirit of Humanity family. And from Iceland to Zimbabwe, he felt the love of people he did not yet know, the love that was poured through the organizers of the festival, but that carried the love of everyone here. That was the authentic, loving leadership that he experienced even in the denial of being here. And what was powerful about this moment is that ignition led us to a deep search of what is ailing this world, what is causing the crisis, and what could be the ways in which we could regenerate and give birth to something new. And that has been a wonderful midway point in this journey, which really showed the quality, the depth, and the possibility that the forum will give rise to a new world. I will take so many precious gifts of these caring eyes that have watched over and created this space. I will take many new deepened friendships and new friendships. I will take a confidence that because of Iceland's commitment to hosting this forum and making it possible with the partnership of so many different organizations and supporters, that we have deepened the quality of leadership in our world. We have been able to take a quantum leap in terms of the world which existed when this forum started and the world that will greet us when we return to our homes. That what has happened here is a ripple into this ocean of change that is happening around the world, and it will have a profound effect on everything that happens. For me, I'm also taking back for the Home for Humanity movement and our planned journey of 7 years, the One Home journey around our home planet, to really support with many other movements the birth of the establishment of an earth culture of inclusion, of regeneration, of peace and of joy for the well-being of all life on earth and humanity in unity and service to that. I go back filled with such confidence that with partners, with collaborators, with co-creators like the Spirit of Humanity Forum and those who've come here, that dream that we know has to be the future is becoming a reality, that we can co-create the future that we believe in, as we've been doing during these 2 days.
So I have to say that I was hugely excited about coming. I always am, because I know the people, the conversations, the dialogue, and how much I'll learn. But it's more than not surprised me. I think I've achieved much more than I thought would be the case. And let me tell you why. This time the forum has focused on process, on our work together as a team, not on individuals and knowledge and content and presentations, but on being together, feeling together, talking together, learning together. And that's, 4 times I've said together. Together is really what I'm taking from this forum. And another thought is how powerful this grouping is that we've assembled, and how that power will be distributed when we leave in the networks that we join, and the many people that aren't here. Because one of the magical things about Spirit of Humanity Forum is that when we're here, we build a unity of core purpose. And the responsibility we take from here is to share that more widely. And that'll be challenging, because the world is much more complex than this closed, safe community that we've created. So everything I expected is more than fulfilled. And I'm so grateful to the organizers, to our hosts, to Iceland for being a place which can be safe, which can be inspiring. And although it's a very peaceful place, so it should be, given its context and its size, it still inspires, and hopefully we'll take some of this Icelandic peace home with us.
This is my first retreat ever. Yeah, people go on retreats in Cameroon, but I've never been privileged to be a part of one, and that's my first experience. And traveling to Iceland for that retreat, also for the first time in Europe, that's another experience. And spending this last 3 days with Spirit of Humanity team and almost everyone from the whole world has been incredible. The thing that really touched my heart here is being able, through the guided exercises, practices from the instructors, on how to connect with myself. You know, where I come from, we have the tendency of relying on external strength, relying on external forces to be okay, to validate our happiness, right? I'm not saying that's wrong, but it's also very, it's very strong and very okay for you or for me to feel that before any other person, I could look down into myself, draw strength from within to be able to deal with life's realities, especially as a woman leader, passionate about driving change in my community in Cameroon. This is very important. So I would say, summarily, I learned how to tap from within on how to handle, my life situations and how to deal with the communities I work with. This is a great experience still, and I not only intend to practice a lot of what I've learned here, but also in my own way try to tailor it to my community's context and see if other people can benefit from it. For example, there's a kind of strength there is in meditation just by practicing different breathing exercises, learning how to calm yourself in the storm of the world. Also learning how to be able to support another person in a difficult situation. In a way, and as a grassroots peace builder, I would say this is, what I'm taking back home with me. And this is what I intend to adapt where I'm going to. And what particularly stood out for me here would be the second exercise I did on the second day, which is, who are you? When the instructors mentioned that we were going to, take turns in asking, who are you? And then, the other person has to respond who they are, or, no questions asked. You just keep asking, who are you? I undermined the exercise. Initially, I was like, you keep asking me, who are you? What am I going to say several times, right? But I would say, when I got connected with the person whom, like my partner for the exercise, and she brought us close to me, and I looked into her eyes, and we both connected on that visual level, and she asked me, who were you for the first 5 minutes? My first 3 answers came from my head, but the other answers, subsequent answers that followed the first 3 answers, came straight from my heart. And I didn't know when I started speaking from within. The exercise had so much strength and resonance that came from deep inside me. And I started saying, just started being vulnerable to her, and I didn't understand when I started doing that. And I would say it sounds simple, like a simple exercise, but when you commit to it, you'll be amazed with, with how much you don't know yourself and how much you shock yourself with who you are. And I would say this is one thing I'm taking away from here, and I would practice this maybe with my loved ones or just by myself, to always reconnect with myself with this exercise. This is the one thing I'm taking home for myself.
Thank you so much. Actually, being here in the forum was, I would say, wasn't a miracle, but I consider it a miracle. I got the invitation by chance. I trusted the unknown, and I came all the way to this forum with no expectation. And I can tell you that after today is the 3rd day, I am totally a different person. The Noor who stepped into this place 3 days ago is totally different. And now I am more open, I am more present, and I have very high hope that we can together collectively do something about humanity. So the title of the Spirit of Humanity, it's too profound, it's too deep, and we all felt it together. And one thing that I'm taking out with me, it's that we are all one, and we are all one heart, and we are all one mind. And it's just a choice that we make to feel the other and to be close to others. By doing so, we will be able to create a positive change.
So I think, the words I use when I describe this experience is awe and just a deep sense of gratitude for being involved with this. Because I think everyone that I met, starting with the planning committee and with the people who initiated this, I can characterize with, people of grace, of humility, and of incredible commitment and passion. And I think nothing meaningful can happen without those qualities of humility, commitment, passion, and grace. And these traits, this energy has been throughout the entire experience. And I think all the participants felt that too. The participants, again, the same kind of awe it remained for me with every person that I met, with every activity we had, with every day that we shared. People come with so much energy to do good, whatever that means in the world. And I think the joint sense of a spiritual connection and a spiritual commitment to each other, to humanity, to the planet, to everything that we are a part of, that deep commitment and the energy towards it has been such an inspiration for me. I feel that I've received so much more than what I've given. And for me personally, coming from Israel, and this is a very difficult time for my country, that gave me such an infusion of hope and a sense that not being alone. I had parts that felt quite hopeless and quite lonely in our experience there. And it was just a wonderful experience to have this infusion of warmth and care, and that the real beauty of humanity comes to light in this experience. And I know that these are really big words, but this is really what the experience has been for me. I am deeply grateful for every person, every heart that is behind this endeavor. including this beautiful environment, different beautiful container of Iceland. I think this is so the right place for it. This is also a place of beauty and humility, acceptance and care. So I am humbly grateful for being here and appreciate that I was invited.
As we know, Sylvie, I was invited as a part of the arts group, so I felt I had a special invitation, but then I think I'm aware of the fact that at this forum everybody had a special invitation, and I had this sense that everybody was here for a special reason, with a special purpose. And that is a very invigorating environment to be in, to feel these purposes come together and to mix and to create a kind of atmosphere of love and openness and open-heartedness. So I have experienced that open-heartedness and extraordinary generosity of spirit, and the generosity and wit of the organisers has come through really beautifully during the course of the forum retreat. And as an artist, I think that what was interesting to me was that when they first proposed what art might be in this particular circumstance, there was a sense in which they wanted the artistic kind of process, but it was a feeling that they didn't want, we couldn't bring, I'm a theatre director, so what am I going to do? I can't bring a play. So how do you share an artistic process without actually showing the product? And that meant that the role that I was given was as a participant observer. And so I tried to adopt that role. And of course, for the forum, it's true that everybody is really a participant observer, but maybe what I tried to do in the first instance was to up the observation, to try to sort of practice, I suppose, the art of listening, of trying to really listen to what was happening deeply, listen not just with my ears, but with my heart. So that has been very opening for me, and I feel very grateful for what I've heard and what I've listened to, and for the lessons that I've learned.
Please stand up for us, very briefly, to just receive our gratitude. Einat, David, Paul, Arawana, you're here, Manish, and Jayanti. So,
what I'll take away is friends, contacts, a kind of renewed sense of purpose, a clarity, of a definition of how I operate in the world. It's reflective experience, but also a project, an idea for a piece of work, which is about a journey of somebody from Africa to our world. And that the sense of that journey is very much been a part of what we've talked about. What's been the most dramatic thing, in a way, at the retreat is really the fact that somebody in Africa couldn't get here. So the idea is to collaborate with one of the participants, because they are coming to London in January, and to try to see whether we can dramatise their journey, to try to let people in on their journey through streaming, perhaps, Zoom conversations between me and her. And of course, it will end with her on my doorstep, hopefully.
Thank you so much.
I think it was an extraordinary experience. I came out of a very hectic work week. My secretary wrote me, there is no program. I didn't know what to expect. And my whole relationship to this was through one person I trust very much. So I thought it's going to be okay. And what I met over the last 3 days was heartwarming and heart-opening in a way I would not have expected, really.
That one person you have not connected with.
Well, there are very many special moments, so it's hard to single out one. But I found myself in a conversation with a person literally from the other side of the planet.
And sharing her story so very much sounded like my own story that at one point we just cracked out laughing and hugged because it was so similar, it was unbelievable. And this was the first time we ever had a conversation in our lives, but certainly not the last time. I think you go away with more compassion, with more understanding, with less fear also, which is a beautiful thing, and just with the courage to do what you know is right, what needs to be done.
I think one of the most wonderful things is the diversity of people who you gathered together. It's diverse in many ways, people's background, people's level of doing inner work, the type of work that they've done, what they're doing out there in the world. And that for me was part of the magic. Many people are activists, trying to manifest change in the world. Others are in a more reflective place. And it's that combination, the inner work for outer change, that appeals to me the most.
Very slowly.
For me, the work on embodying the change was, a lot of it was new and very interesting. So the second day when I was with that group, I found the social presencing particularly new and embodied, and also the breathing work. These were different approaches than I'd experienced before. And I'm also very intrigued by internal family systems. So I liked that part, but I would have actually preferred to have had to gone a little deeper in that. I want to reflect on that more because, of course, the networking is wonderful, but the question is, how do we manifest in the world? I want to reflect more on what my takeaway is. I had a fantastic experience, but the question is, how will we together, or can we together, take this out into the world in a way that it gets to many more people? That's the question I want to reflect on, is can this inspire people out in the world, and how would that happen once we all go each our own ways?